Hi there everybody, we're doing a little bit of a tech talk again. Lately the fishing has been so difficult here at KZN where I live, and I just cannot do any fishing videos. So the next best thing is to do a bit of tech talk. And recently we had a customer in our shop that bought a brand new rod. The next day he was back at the shop saying to me that the rod broke and he's not happy with the rod. So I said to him, show me the break, and it's actually this little rod here. And he showed me where the rod broke, and I quickly realized what the problem was. And it's quite a common problem, and I think it's not because anybody's doing something wrong, it's just that people don't really know the correct way of connecting and disconnecting your pieces onto your rod. So let me do a little video on this and show the guys out there how I do it and what works for me to prevent my joints from breaking when I connect my pieces of my rod together. So I'm going to show you guys what the customer showed me exactly what he did. So that was the reason this little section here, I don't know if you can see it on camera, it burst open. So this is the joint where dip section fits in like that, and it cracked the rod open here. So it's a brand new rod, and he thought there was a flaw in the rod, but there's actually nothing wrong with this piece of the rod. It was the way he tried to take the rod apart that created this crack. So I'm going to show you guys what he did, and then try and show you what I do to prevent this from happening to my rods, because as you all know, fishing rods are extremely expensive, and the last thing you do is break a section on your rod because it's an expensive fix and we don't want to do it. So what this customer did was he bought the rod from me, and I must add, he's a brand new angler, new to the sport, and he didn't know, and I should have actually showed him when he bought the rod how to do it, but I'm sure he won't make the mistake again. So what he did is he took his two sections, put the rod together, pushed it in all the way, and then he fished. And when he was done fishing, he tried to take it apart, but it was sticky and stuck because it's quite a new rod, and normally they're a bit sticky. And he pulled it out, it came out halfway, and when he got to this point, it was stuck. He couldn't get it in, and he started wiggling it like that to get it out. And his mate to the other end, and they pulled it, and they did this sort of motion, and it eventually came out, but by doing that they cracked the rod open. So, and that is the biggest problem. It's like trying to pull it out and it's stuck, you try and get it stuck, so split open, and it's stuck, and you try and twist the rod or move it sideways to get it out like that, and then you crack the blank open. So that's how that one broke, and splits it open. And when it's split like that, you can throw it away. You cannot fix it, it's broken. 2 or 3 casts later it's going to burst open completely, and it's pointless trying to fix it. So let me show you guys on a brand spanking new rod what I do when I get a new rod and how I put my rods together, and it's just for the main reason for getting it in and out easily, and also preventing that break from happening where you start trying to take it apart and the two ends aren't flush and one of them is going to give up and break. So here we've got a brand new rod, and I'm taking a new rod because normally they're a bit sticky and they fit together quite tight in the beginning. So I'm going to try and get this on camera now, see if you guys. So I take my new rod, and what I always do, I push it in so the first bit's easy, and then it gets a bit sticky. So I've got to line it up, so you've got lines on the rod. This line's got to line up with a guide. So I start off with it off center, and then I twist it in clockwise, and then it lines up. So you've got to sort of get the right angle. So you get one twist clockwise, and then it lines up. My rod's nice and deep, it's in where it should be, and that's perfect for fishing. And what I do when I'm done fishing is exactly the same motion. I pull it a little bit and twist at the same time, and I take it out anti-clockwise. So what I'm doing is I'm actually creating a fine little thread on the blank where it twists in and twists out. So I do the same motion on all my rods all the time, and that creates a little bit of a thread. You can't even see it with the eye, but it's there. And that really holds the rod, so when it's in, it's nice and tight, it can't come out, but you need to twist it to get it out. So that's the way I do it. I honestly don't know if it's the best way or the correct way, but it works for me, and I've never had that crack there by the guys trying to pull it out straight and then get stuck with it and then move it up and down. So by twisting it and keeping it in a spiral motion, you're preventing the rod from doing this up and down motion like that, which normally cracks the end of your section here. Right, so very simple thing. You just got to get used to it, and I do exactly the same to all my rods. I line them up the same. So I know when my rods go together, it's one twist like that, push and twist at the same time. Everything lines up nicely, and it doesn't want to come out. When I undo it, grab it, pull and twist, and you create that bit of thing. So a very simple little tip, but very useful. Something else we can talk about when it comes to these rods is every now and then you buy a rod that really goes in extremely tough, and you battle with it. You battle to get it in, you battle to get it out, and it's just a pain in the backside. And when you're done fishing, the last thing you do is battle to get a rod out. So if you've got one of those rods that really doesn't want to play along, it's very sticky, and for some reason it's just a little bit tight, what I do is I go and I buy water sandpaper, like a 600 grit, something extremely fine. But you got to be careful when you do this, because if you over sand it, you'll make it too small and it'll be loose. So I will get that 600 grit water paper, wet it a bit, put a piece of sandpaper over the area I want to sand, twist it in my hand a little bit, clean it up, and try it on the rod. As soon as it goes in comfortably and nice and tight, I stop sanding. If you over sand this, and it can happen quite quickly because that water paper sands this a lot. So you just sand it a little bit, test it on the other end of the rod, and as soon as it goes in nice and tight and comfortably, you stop sanding. If you over sand it, you'll definitely have a problem with this. It's too loose, and you actually got to build up the rod again. You don't want to go down that road at all. So that's my little tip for the day, guys. How to put the rod in and out without cracking it or breaking it, and it just helps you to sort of extend the lifespan of the rods. And it's all part of maintenance, and at the end of the day, it's all part of increasing your effectiveness when it comes to fishing and the cost that you spend on your fishing.